you have like two additional Cheryl screens on.
One of them Ricky was using from my desktop, and the other one was just so that we could show whatever. And wait a minute! Look, oh my gosh! Look at this picture. You are too much, girl. Yes, Carol's on the way. There she I better hope this stuff doesn't fall down. Unmute, Carol. Yes. Oh wait, where's Diva?
I'm right here.
I gotta. Hello. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. It's Let's Talk Business with SJC, and I'm here with my co-host Diva J on this
Hello.
historical day.
How
Welcome
are
to the
you?
show. Oh, I see these ladies, and oh my goodness. Oh wait, where are my pearls? They're on. In case you guys can't see them, we're all of these three African American women adorning their pearls for such a time as this. It's the presidential inauguration. It's a historical inauguration. So y'all know we have to talk about this for just a few minutes, and then we'll get into the monetary financial business of the show. Diva J, I
Yeah.
saw a picture of you. Did you flash that picture back up? That's you with now the 46th president of the United States and First Lady.
Yeah.
You gotta tell us about this picture.
Okay. That picture was taken, I think, back in 2013 when I lived in DC. I had got an opportunity to work with the president, literally by his side with the camera during his VIP press party at his residence when he was vice president in the Obama administration. And so it was just a day I would never forget. Not only was I following him very up close and personal, I ended up calling my dad. He talked to my dad on the phone. We sat on the bench and we ate ice cream together. And he was just, from that day forth, I began calling him Uncle Joe. And so I got the opportunity to do it again next year. And so I am just so excited for today. I am just so happy, not only for President Biden, but also for our Vice President Harris. And so today is just a day of happiness. I'm excited for the transition that I know our nation needs. And, I just know that Biden's the right guy to do it. So this is a good day. So that was a picture that I've always kept, and I would have never guessed that it would now be a picture with me and the
I
president.
know. And so for you, that's history. And one of the things, and first of all, let me back up for just a second. So to In Touch News and our radio listening audience, our Facebook family, we thank you for those of you who were brave enough to pivot from the inauguration. I've been on Zooms in the morning while you got your other devices all going because you don't want to miss a single piece. And I did end up missing and you'll tell me about that, DBJ, the poetry component. And I was thinking about both of you, and we are, as you guys see, in solidarity, in showing love and support for our this historical moment, having an African American and an Asian American represent us, and the first to serve in the office of no more elect, no more to our vice president of the United States, Kamala Harris, and that's why we were doing this in support of her. But don't you just still feel a lot of the excitement? And Carol, I'm going to come back and officially introduce you, but you're a friend to the show, and there's just so much excitement, and I know you're bubbling over, and
Yes, yes.
we feel some of the peace as a result of this this transition and what's beginning to happen. But Carol, as I look at you, last night when I was kind of going over some of the notes for the show, and I thought the 46th presidential inauguration is happening as we're doing our show. The 46th, and I thought to myself, wow, we both have seen that, and I wondered for a moment. I say, what was I doing at 46? Even though my co-host on my second hour of the show will tell you I'm only 28, but what was I doing at 46? And then I added that to one of my questions to both of you, and I just started to chuckle because Jeanette has not seen 36, let alone 46.
The babies, the babies.
The baby. But you know what? But as you listened to her talk about the assignment she had with Vice President Joe Biden, but Carol, do you remember 46?
I'm up here trying to do the math to see what year it is. See, I talk about it by, by my age. I had to say, what year was that? I think like 98.
We're
That was in 98. So 98 and 46. Yeah, 98. I'm proud to say I'm 66 years old. So it's a little bit to count.
looking amazing.
I think God is good. And you know what they say about black, right? So thank you, Kings. And so if I'm correct about 98-ish, I had just started my business. My business was just a year.
Wow.
Look at that. 1 year old. And we want to segue to that because that's what the three of us, I mean, there are a lot of commonalities with us and the fact that we're experiencing history being made as we're having our show. And one of the things and the platforms of the show is to always be able to share the who, the what, the when, the where, the how. And I thought about this last night. All three of us, entrepreneurs, and at some point made the decision to change the trajectory of our lives and be able to do something where we could impact others. And that's what made me. And as I was thinking about now, Vice President Kamala Harris and her message has always been, even from her mom, it's not so much the positions that you have, but how are you going to use those positions in order to impact the lives, and what are little girls going to say about you, and what will your community say about you? What contributions are you going to make to this world? And here today, we're talking about entrepreneurs, we're talking about the economic stimulus packet, but yet so many entrepreneurs were not able to be helped. So I'm going to pivot because we wanted to take the first quarter hour of the show and just share what this day means to us. As I said earlier, we've got two phenomenal individuals. Carol is no stranger to the show. This is not her first time. This is not her second time. I believe it's the fourth time, but it could be the third time that she has been here. And I'll let Carol tell you what she wants you to know about herself. But Carol, you're our guest. What does this day mean to you?
I just came off of another Zoom meeting with an organization called the Urban Financial Services Coalition, formerly known as the Urban Bankers, which I was a part of for many, many years. And it's an organization of African American bankers at that time, when we changed the name to encompass all financial services as the industry changed. And that same question was asked of me, and I can say to you that this, not only this day, in terms of the first African American woman to be in that, to aspire and reach that platform, but it's also the time period that we're in right now. And
Yes.
so the time of change. And I say the same thing I said to them earlier. It's a change that's happening all around us, and we need to sit up, take notice, and be a part of it. Because too often these changes take place, and we're so skeptical, rightfully, that they don't have any longevity about them, or that people are not sincere about them, and that this is the same old, we tried this before, it's not going to. But if we don't get on board and move it forward, so we can't be innocent standbyers to stand by and see change take place around us. We have to jump in and be a part of the change. And if you're not a part of the change, you are certainly a part of the problem. And so we want to make sure that we help and you know what we really need to focus on, and this came to me after I spoke to them, out of the younger people. We want to make sure younger people know, because believe it or not, some of us, our families don't transition the history. And so if you don't know the history, you are doomed to be repeated. And so
Yes.
we have to make sure that the younger generation understand. We can't just look, I'm sorry to go back there. People don't want to hear this part, to the slavery portion. But if you don't go back there, you don't understand the fight. And so you have to make sure that you get in line. You know where you are. We don't wrestle and be underneath where it used to be, but we have to be always reminded of where it was, because that's where we come from. And so we have to,
Mm.
for younger generation, understand that, because otherwise those people who are young senior vice presidents and all these different places, they don't know, because the way it was paid. And so they step into those spots and then, I don't want to go through that. I don't want to do that. I'm doing okay. But what about us as a people? No
Yeah.
more under blanket stuff. We need to stand forward and need to be deliberate about things, and we need to come forward and be a part of the change, or we'll be left behind.
Well said, girl. You are preaching. You are preaching this morning. I mean, you guys, I can just feel I got tear bumps all over me just being able to have this conversation with you. And something you said always reminds me of Diva J. And when you were talking about the young people and your younger self, and so I'm going to pivot to Diva J, who has been there, been in that DC, been a part of that experience we heard earlier. But Diva J, what does today mean to you?
You know, today is a very special day for me because I mean, when I left Tampa to move to DC, I left saying that I would never come back unless I could make a difference in my community. And so to know that I have walked along the same
Mm.
streets that some of our most powerful leaders are walking on, to know that now I've gone to the same Howard University that our now vice president graduated from, it's just continued confirmation that anything is possible,
Amen.
and that it's a journey. Nothing's going to happen overnight, but that if you just consistently continue to take one step forward, you're making progress. And to Carol's point of understanding and really knowing about our history, I think that is huge. I don't think it's hard to put into words how I feel. Empowered, all the words sound so cliche, but they're so real. Encouraged, um, motivated. Like I just feel like right now the world is ours, and when I say ours, really anybody's, because today just shows that against all odds, or when you feel that all things are working against you, sometimes you can prevail. And I ran into my mom's house to just to watch Kamala put her hand up and take a selfie with the TV, because I'm just so excited. And I don't know, even when Obama became president, I was excited, but I don't know, today hit a little different for me.
Today.
And I think it's because she's a Black woman, or let me say a woman of color, to give credit to her other parts of her heritage. And I don't know, it means a lot. As a young entrepreneur, I started my business when I was 23. Now I'm 33. So this year in February, I would have been in business for 10 years. And it just continues. Today motivates me to keep going. Even though I'm not probably where I thought I would, I don't know where I thought I would be. I don't know if I thought I'd still be in business, but today is just a day of inspiration. There's just
Yeah.
nothing like it. My mom said, "Why are you dressed up?" I said, "Ma, today's the inauguration." She said, "That is not why you're dressed up." I said, "I can't walk around looking the same no more. Like history has changed, and I'm going to be a part of that." And so I don't know. It's just given me a whole new groove to my step. The world now, I feel, sees us. Not that I felt imaginary before, but today was a big moment. Today just was. It's just a big moment.
It's almost a form of validation, even though we know who we are, we know whose we are. On Monday, it was the remembrance of Dr. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Jr. And I thought about him, and I thought about you, Diva J, and I thought, now she would have been someone that would have made her way to get that interview. Because Carol, if you ever spend enough time around Diva J, if she's in a room, you will know that she is in that room. She is going to be noticed. And I thought about her interviewing Dr. King, and then I listened to Dr. Bernice King talk about not wanting to be in the shadow of her father, but wanting to be able to make an impact on the world, but under her name. And she talked about the fight of not going into ministry and decide, I'm gonna get my law degree so I can identify as Bernice King, but not the baby girl of Reverend Dr. Martin and Coretta Scott King. And then it made me think back to my younger self, and why that day is always so important. I'm always active in different types of activities and causes surrounding and days of service when it comes to MLK. And I thought, what was that drive in me? And it took me back to my younger self. I was in the fourth grade, Lomax Elementary School. Shout out to Lomax East Tampa. My teacher, my fourth grade teacher, was the late Mrs. Lois D. Miles. Some of y'all may remember her son, Dr. Charles Miles, Gay Papa Miles. And she wanted me to recite the I Have a Dream speech. And even when she gave me the speech, I didn't say it was a long speech, but I was so excited that I was selected to render the I Have a Dream speech. And so I thought about that on Monday, and I thought, wow, that portion in that speech where he says, and he talks about my four little girls, his dream for his four little girls to one day live in a nation where they would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. And I'm thinking, 50 plus years later, I almost said that dream has not been realized. But when you fast forward now to this beautiful woman of color who stands for us, all of us can be so proud of her as the now Vice President of the United States. If I thought about retiring, out the window. There's still so much to do because of that younger generation. And I ask myself, have I made a difference? Have I been a game changer? Have I taken someone under my wings to be able to help them? And I love the way that that's a gift that was given to me. It'll probably be with me until I leave this earth. But it does to Carol, to the Carol Miners, and to those coming up, and the Diva J's, to my daughters, and I have three of them, to be able to be an example for them and want them to be able to make a contribution on this journey called life. My word today would just be empowered. Mm-hmm. I feel so empowered to be able to have the conversation with you all. And I said earlier, we're all entrepreneurs. And I wanted to hear your perspective so that others could hear your perspective. To those who listen to our show, we have a lot of viewers. Don't catch the show from 12:31 to 1:31, but boy, they catch the replay. And that's a good thing, because whatever message we're sharing, the who, the what, the when, the where, the how, they can always get it. When they tune back to other shows, and Diva J talked about her business being 10 years old. Now I'll add another 10 on her 10. And to have you, Carol, come on today and to be in the position that you are in today. We're still in this pandemic. Businesses are still closing. Yes, we are sharing and looking at it and can't get enough of the inauguration today, but we're still in the real world. And the reason we invited Carol Miner, Carol A. Miner, to come on the show today with all of her credentials. But Carol, it was not easy. As you've heard our Vice President of the United States say, and not to take a moment away from the 46th President of the United States and that of Joseph Biden. But Carol Miner, starting out as an entrepreneur, walk us through that. And then to be in the position that you're in today, when we ask the question, there's an economic stimulus package already voted on. Banks are ready to accept applications as the funds are being rolled out. And now you are in that position to help your younger self in support of these business. What say you,
You've
Lady
given
Carol?
me a lot. I'm so filled with excitement that I will try to taper my excitement. And so many things that I've heard just struck with me. For example, one is that this feels different than Obama. I think it feels different than Obama because Obama, I'll tell you, I don't know. For me, that was like the opening of the door and opening the front door. Now the back door hasn't been open. So there's nothing keeping you from moving and going forward because of the possibilities. That's number one. The other is the word you used, empowered. And so we've been empowering ourselves for a long time. Thank God for that. For being in
Amen.
10 years, 20 years, I was in business 23 years. That didn't come by accident. It came by hard work. It came by being empowering ourselves. We have to, trust God and reach out for what you need. Everybody doesn't know how to do that. There are people who just don't know how to do that. And so when you my plight began when I became a business owner. I was always looking out to help the small business. Really, I chose that because when I was in middle market, I felt lost. I was like, these people don't need me to convince them to take my money. They can go to any place they want. But it
Yeah.
made a difference. When I went to small business, these are people who like, I don't know anything about anything. Well, let me tell you, that's where I found my calling. And then it was just started with just small businesses. Then it was like, oh, absolutely, our people of color don't know any of this stuff. Why? Systemically, we've been shut out from information. We don't even know where to look, where to go, and try. And we've always been bootstrappers, and so we
Mm.
do it on our own. And so, no, now you have somebody, at least in my little corner of the world, that I'm willing to tell you what I know to get by. The, the thing that I would say to any business owner is, even with my education, even with all the training, even with all the doors opening, learn how to ask for help. Because even when I was in business, I didn't ask enough because I did it. We're bootstrappers. We do what we need. However, had I sought out different help was coming to me, but it wasn't sufficient. I should have gotten more. When you seek out the help to help you to grow, you will grow exponentially based on that help. You will grow without any help, doing it on your own bootstrapping. But that growth is much slower than it is when you can get it. It takes a village. And so I would just say seek out organizations such as mine, Hillsborough SBDC at Hillsborough County. We provide that leg up, that information, that resources to you to help you grow your business. We're not telling you how to make your widgets. We're telling you how to sell your widgets, how to get them out there, how to identify the target market, how to count your money so that you're not spending it all and those kinds of things. The R3 that just came up on your screen, we're
Yes.
not R3 anymore because we gave out 94 million, over $94 million to small businesses in Hillsborough County. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
Money. And still, and the average amount of a grant was like $15,000. That's a lot of money. And so we try to make sure everybody get in line, get your paperwork together. Oh, if I could say anything about that and about the PPP, it would be keep your paperwork together. It is important when they ask for stuff, and I get it. The system is designed years ago systemically to keep us out of it. So when you start talking paperwork, we just shrink away. I'll figure it out. But no, learn what you don't know and get that paperwork together. Hire who you need to hire. to help you to understand the paperwork so that you can be a part of this. You can get your share of what it is. You know, the last PPP, they had so many problems. The banks were giving all the money to their best clients. They were shutting out all the small businesses. That's why they weren't getting them. You've read it. It's just nothing new. It's not made up. You know, so many businesses were getting millions of dollars, several of them. And here we had small businesses couldn't get 10,000, you know, and so they did start off, unfortunately, for us, Cheryl, I'm sorry I didn't think of you earlier, because they started off the first Monday, they started with this process. Well, we didn't find out till the last minute too. It was only for minorities, women, and veterans.
Oh.
It was only for 2 days. It was only for that population. And then on Wednesday, they opened it up completely, and it was only at community banks. So you couldn't just go down to the bank on the corner. A community bank is not the bank. It is a designation. You have to go online, type in community banks for PPP, and it'll give you a whole slew of banks that are accepting PPP loans. Community banks, not the bank that's in your community, okay? And so that was for a couple of days. They extended, they didn't open it up to the mainstream banks until Friday, I believe, or Monday. This Monday just passed, or Friday. One of those. It just opened for the mainstream banks. And so the mainstream banks can now do it, but they also had issues. Not all of it was their fault. The systems were difficult. It was hard for people to get through it. Aside from them picking and choosing what they wanted as bankers, that's what bankers do. They also had issues. But part of our problem is that when we don't understand, we don't know who to ask. And so that's where we come in. The PPP is a loan that you have to do on yourself. Loan, possibly grant, because if you do it right, it will be a grant.
Right.
You have to, we can't do it for you. We can't talk to a banker. You have to do the paperwork yourself. But if you don't understand it, that's where we come in to help you understand and make sure your package is complete. Because if your package is not complete, it gets pushed to the side and no attention is given to it until it is complete. And so we want to make sure that you go in right from the beginning. That's all. One of our main purposes is to make sure that you understand the whole process of lending or granting or working with financial institutions, so that you don't get no's. You don't get a no because your paperwork is not right, or you haven't done the right things, or you don't understand what they're asking for. We're there to kind of help you with all of those things. And so we invite you to go to our website, www.hcflgov.net.
Well,
I hope we can.
Listen, we're gonna post it in our thank you post. We're going to come back after the break, and we'll hear from Diva J. And we had CJ Castro wanted to come on. Castro wanted to come on to the show. He'll come back at a later date. You can only imagine how busy the SBA system is right now. And we can attest to all that you are saying, Carol, and we'll come back and talk about some of the success stories. And then here we go, phase 2. Actually, this is now phase 3, because we had to roll out twice in 2020. But what other businesses that missed out can prepare themselves to get ready and do as we move forward. So let's take a break, ladies. Either hang in there, put your virtual backdrops up, your logos up, and we'll be back in 2. Hang tight.
By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here for you.
You've been injured. You deserve help from an attorney that knows how to handle your injury claim. This is Attorney Clinton Paris from the Law Office of Clinton Paris. For over a decade, I worked for insurance companies, and now I use that knowledge and experience to help people that have been injured. For a free consultation, call me, Attorney Clinton Paris, at 813-413-7924. That's 813-413-7924, or at parislawoffice.com. At the Law Office of Clinton Paris, we take the pain out of being hurt. Offices, Riverview.
In Touch Radio, where you can listen to a cruising flow of smooth soul and jazz, today's R&B, a fun touch of hip-hop and gospel.
All my music on one station.
Giving you a buffet of music, news, and entertainment. We're In Touch Radio.
The Storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan. We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
The most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
And we are back. Welcome back to Let's Talk Business with Cheryl J. Cousteau. It's the third hour. Can you believe this new year, the third hour of the show? I'm here with my co-host, Jeanette Diva J. Howard Smith. The poems are absolutely beautiful. Now, Diva J, you heard all that Carol Miner had to say when it comes to being an entrepreneur. Now she's in a position to be able to help entrepreneurs. It was our show that CJ Castro was a part of, and he broke down the SBA, how the funding was coming down the pipeline, how we as entrepreneurs could prepare ourselves. And remember, the questions was asked, what then would prohibit a person from getting the loan, or a business owner from getting the loan? And he gave us those three. And at that moment, it was, if you owed the IRS with back taxes, if you were in default on a student loan, and when you say stuff like that, immediately you think about, wow, he just wiped out, half of the smaller entrepreneurs. But then one of the things he also offered was that they would assist you. And then when we brought Carol on, Carol was like, well, y'all come and visit us and we can help you get your paperwork together. And so we'll start with you as we welcome back to the show, and Carol will pop back on shortly. Carol, are you there? Let's make sure
I'm here.
Oh, there. Okay, she's here. Sometimes these screens jump around on you and you have to, what you say, Jeanette, swipe across?
Yeah.
But Diva J, as we listened to Carol, and we got to have you share a little bit about being able to position your business so that you can go and receive some support, some help from SBA from the first part of the pandemic and receiving help. How were they able to help your business, and how has Dash Marketing been able to survive?
Yeah, I mean, since really that interview we did with Castro, after we left there, I was like, whoa. Like, I learned so much from that. And I went onto the website. I applied for the EIDL loan, the Economic Disaster Relief Loan. I received it. I applied for my husband's business. He received it. With those monies for him, he's now able to pay a company, as you said, hire help. So yes. Now he'll be getting a network with 2 insurance businesses. With me, I was able to use that money to help get some equipment for my company that I had my eyes set on for a while, and just cover some of the things, expenses for the business. And
Yes.
so that was literally from the interview we did with Castro. And now I'm at this interview with Carol, anxious to ask questions about the PPP because I need to hop on that. And to Carol's point about having your paperwork in order, because before I started my business, I used to run a dental office. And one of the things that I noticed from this practice was that paperwork was everywhere. And so one thing that was one of the things I took from that was when I start my business, I'm going to make sure I keep all of my documents in order, whether it's organized in files on my computer, just try. And so to that point, now one of the, it's still intimidating, the whole process sometimes, but the paperwork part for me has allowed me to take advantage of opportunities fairly quickly, because I know where it's at. And so I think that is from, I mean, that's a level one, how to start a business the right way is to first come up with a system to keep your paper organized. And at this point, to make sure it's electronic and organized, because I think that has just really made my life a lot easier. And even as I think about taking advantage of some other opportunities, for example, when we met with USF and their supplier diversity, after that interview we did with them, to Carol's point, I called for help. So I called their office. I met with Lizette. She's great. We had a meeting and she said, Jeanette, I think you're ready to become CBE certified. So my next call is going to be back to the SBA. I'm going to ask for help on how to go through that process. And I mean, I'm just here to soak up all of the wisdom. I would be a fool to have an opportunity to speak with people like you, Cheryl, and you, Carol, and not leave and do something different. And so I just want to encourage our listeners to don't just listen to this, take notes. Know that I take notes and literally do exactly what you all say do, because that's how this works. Knowledge is power, and it's how I've been able to stay in business for this long and how I anticipate growing to the next level. So this information is golden for me, and I hope it's golden for all of our viewers.
It is. And one of the reasons that when we started this show, we just knew we wanted a platform where we could share information and bring in experts that we knew could help our small businesses. And sitting as a veteran business, I like, because they'll say, well, you already know this and you know the ins and the outs and you know what to do. And so I always try to pivot and turn it around and find a smaller business or someone new or someone saying, well, I didn't know this from the beginning. Even when Carol came on the show, and I started like Carol as well, you know, you couldn't wait to hang that shingle, and you got your lawyer, you got your CPA, you got set up, you got all your paperwork done. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay. All of that, you took what monies you had to legalize your business. And now it's okay. When is that income coming in? You know, you luck up, you get 1 or 2 contracts, and what you learn quickly, long before those contracts end, you better have some others ready to come in order to be able to sustain your business. But it's key being partners with. And one of the things I have enjoyed about being when I took over the Black Pages and started my own franchise with the Tampa Bay Black Pages and talking with the small business owners was how many times, and then on the flip side of that, as a business consultant, how many times you go into a small business owner's office and in your first consultation, so many of just the ABCs or starting a business 101 totally got missed. To be able to have the conversations with Carol and have these experts come on our show and share with us. I was reading some data, and I get the Tampa Bay Business Journal every day. And it's amazing the information that you find out, and the millions and billions with a B of dollars that's circulating right around in your community. Well, excuse me, outside of your community. And you're like, how can this be? We're in a pandemic. Who are these businesses? And we are having some of the highest real estate sales in the Tampa Bay area. You're like, wait a minute. We're in a pandemic. Is the rest of the world in a pandemic? You talked about knowledge is power. we are disseminating this information out there. We partner with Carol. We partner with, you got a Terry Daniels over at USF. You got CJ Castro with SBA. We brought on, you're our marketing in-house guru, but even you have brought on marketing experts. We've brought on CPAs and attorneys helping us to understand the importance of establishing your business so that when a pandemic comes, you will be better prepared. So applied knowledge is what's going to get it done. You could have taken in all of that information, but didn't go to that website. And not only that, one of the things I remember when the city came out with their program, we had to go through the steps, the preliminary steps. And this was really to weed out who was eligible and not. And the first thing was uploading documents. And it was so good to have a local company that reached out to small businesses and said, listen, if you're going to apply for the city of Tampa, here's the company that they partnered with in order to kind of vet the businesses. And what we heard on these Zoom calls was, well, how do I get access to this information? Where is this information? What is that form? I don't even have that form. But you had to upload all of this on a computer generated program. And right off the bat, if you didn't pass phase 1, you didn't get that letter that said you can now move on to phase 2, and then you were lost. You were lost because everything was moving so quickly, and you went from phase 1 to phase 2, you got that letter, and then they were like, you approved, you're able to go on to the next step. But all of those, as Carol mentioned, are left behind because that financial documentation was not in place. Derek Blue, the CEO of the SAP Group, my co-host for the first hour of the show, has a phenomenal program for businesses, not necessarily in East Tampa, but also that serve East Tampa, who is partnering with SBA, our friends over there, USF, our friend Carol Mano from Hillsborough County, to now say, okay, so many small business, I read the number, 60% of the small businesses that apply for some of the EIDL loans and or grants were not approved because their financial documentation was not in place. Didn't make the cut. So now this collaborative program coming together, an accelerated program to help small businesses do just that. So before we can even get out of this pandemic, they're saying, okay, if you were one of those people, we've got some help for you. So all of the individuals that we have been bringing on this show are going to be guests coming to be a part of, and you'll even hear from Diva J on the whole marketing piece of how to brand and market your business. And now I go back to Carol in the business readiness. We asked a question, it was on our flyer, is your business ready? Carol has come in and said to us, it all goes back down to your financial documentation. So Carol, for those persons that are listening to our show, and I know we said that we will post the flyer. I think the last time Diva J, she gave out her cell number.
She sure did.
That's how passionate she is about helping small business. She said, call my cell. Mm-hmm. And so Carol, we've got 20 minutes on this show, and we want to make the most of this. You heard Diva J talk about hearing us as we talk about this information, taking notes, and that's what's so very, very important. Okay, Carol, step 1. As they're listening to you, let's tell them, what's step 1?
So I'm not quite prepared for it in that way, but I jump on real quick. No, step 1 is, as Diva J says, is making sure your paperwork is in order. And so I guess even before that is understanding what I made a note about what you said is not only know where your paperwork is, but what it is. Because when you understand asking for, this is not new. There are classes that teach people how to fill out a job application because people are formed that phobia. They don't know. But if you have your stuff together and understand and know what they're asking, then it's easier for you to get through that process. The first thing, I guess I'm gonna go back, I have 3 firsts already, right? Is get the phobia of that thing. Okay, it is not insurmountable. And so if you know you have a difficulty with understanding the paperwork, with whatever it is, tackle that.
Tackle that.
Get past the fear. Face the fear. Because I had that same fear about balance sheets. I could do people's financial statements all day long. When I got to the balance sheet, I was like, oh God, I don't know this part. But then I said, do you know about why you don't know it? Because you don't spend time in learning it. So I spent the time to learn it. And I'm like, it's not even all that, so we have to conquer our fear, know where it is and know what it is. Because now I'm better prepared. Because when I hear you ask for that, I know what you're asking me for. And better yet, I know where to go get it in my own business. Organizations like mine that will help you. If you have any of those fears and you don't know where to go, you don't understand certain things, we meet you where you are. That's important. We're not, like I like to say, not talking heads. We are business owners ourselves, or have been business owners ourselves. We understand, and we want to talk to you at the level that you understand. We don't do any talking down. We're not here to show you how much we know, because that's not what it's all about. We're to help you understand what your business is doing, what you need to do, and what you need to know. And we can help lead you through that process. One of the things you had said was about starting your business. I actually had a silver spoon start. What does that mean? In my market, when I started my business, I left my bank in January. February, I had my first contract, and I never looked for a contract. They were always calling me and asking me for, awesome. Do you have this? I had that experience, but I can tell you that I know that a lot of businesses didn't have that experience. I never had to worry about where the money, I had to worry about how to operate, fulfill contracts, but I didn't have to worry about the contracts. And so my plight now is helping people understand how to get to that point. How to get to the point where people recognize your name, understand your work, and seek you out. That is what that came from. It came from a 25-year banking history that led to people knowing me in my market, and when I had my own business, they reached for me. But we don't always have that a benefit, but we can always make sure people get to know us, our name. The more people know us, the more we'll get information sent to us. While I'm talking to you all, I got a banker in Pasco County say, hey, we're doing PPP loans. Send your clients to us. Oh, someplace like us, because they're
building relationships. So very important.
It's not just networking. It's not just drinking a glass of wine and giving somebody your card. That's not what it is. It is getting to know people, understand what they need, help them meet their needs. They'll help you meet yours. That's what working really is. And the part about knowledge being power, at this point, the PPP loan will be around for a while. Understand what it is. The SBA has workshops all the time to help people understand. We don't do PPP loan workshops because they do it.
Right.
However, if you go to a workshop or you talk to someone and you're still in the daze, that's where we come in. You come and sit in front of someone who can answer your questions for you. And guess what? I don't say that we know everything, but you come up with a question, we're like, whoa, wait a minute. I have people I can call and get the answer. Okay.
Yes.
So you need someone like us working for you, because that's what we do. We work for you. And if you're Hillsborough County, we're working for you anyway. Thank you very much. So taking advantage of what those services, we do a good job at the county of helping small businesses. And that's because myself and my team have a heart for the small businesses. They got the right people in place now. They do. Right. And then we're there and our tenure is there. We're going to be helping small businesses. One other thing I would say, number 2, that was a long number 1. Get familiar with the internet if you hadn't been before. The world has changed. If you haven't noticed, the pandemic forced us to be able to do meetings like this. Yes. Leave our homes. I have workload has not stopped, and I've been home for 10 months. You know, the world is operating now electronically. And if you're not in that place, we have many people who's like, I don't know this, I don't know that. Go to a class, understand it, because it is the wave of tomorrow. And you need to know it's a digital divide. Get past the divide. Make sure you understand that, because guess what? PPP applications are electronic. And so if you don't understand it, if you feel timid about that stuff, you know, you can get some help to get through it, but you also need to get knowledge to get past your fear and your intimidation of doing things electronically, because the world is electronically at this point. And that is all I have right now. I don't have a number 3. The number 3 would be to reach out to the Small Business Development Center at Hillsborough County, because
that's a perfect number 3.
It is.
That's exactly what we want individuals to do. One of the things, Carol, that I hear too, is when it comes to organizations like yours, I don't want the government in my business. When you talk about fear or individuals having to supply that information, honestly, that's the only way you're going to receive the help.
I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things we hear from a lot of our clients, and this is not something that I'm making up for anyone, they say it certainly does not feel like government when we're working with you. We are the government agency there is. We worked hard at that, because we know people have that fear, you know, that they're like, I don't want the government. If I haven't paid my licensing fee, we're not police. We're going to tell you what you need to do. We can't make you do it. And we don't report to anybody that you didn't. You know, it is not our job. That's not our role. Our role is to help the economy in Hillsborough County. The economy in Hillsborough County is to help you become a successful business. That's what our focus is. And to become a successful business may mean you, not just may mean, it does mean you have to get your licenses. You have to get on board. You have to be on top of on board, on the table to take advantage of a lot of things. License, no PPP. Can't get a loan if you don't exist, right? And so we have to make sure you get what you're supposed to have in order. I've had so many people, even with the R3 says, oh, I don't register my businesses. I don't have money for that. How do you not have business? I don't get. We have to stop making crazy excuses. Stop making crazy excuses and do what we need to do to be successful.
Absolutely. And you heard it right here from the expert, Carol Miner. One of the reasons I brought that up is because, and that's part of our friendship, and you've been the guru for so many of the business organizations that I am either a member in or support or participate in. We can talk to you just like we're having a conversation. And I can attest to people that you make an individual feel like they're what's most important. If their information is not the way it should be, there is no fear when it comes to talking to you. Here's what you need. Here's someone that can help you get that. You've never seen this form before? Listen, you can go online. The form is right here. Download this form. If you can't fill it out, come back to us and we will assist you with those questions. But the key is you've got to come back. It's kind of like the vaccination. If you got that first dose, you better go back in 30 days or 26 to 30 days and get that second dose if you want 100% efficacy. And so now I go to our marketing and networking guru, and you heard it from her. It wasn't me speaking on her behalf. She went through the process, listened to the guests that we brought on the show. And I'm sorry to our Facebook family, we were not able to take questions. All of us were trying to still navigate around with this technology. You can always contact our offices. You can find me, Let's Talk Business with SJC, DSIBlackpages.com. You got me there. as we begin to wrap up, but I really want to go over to Diva J. And so for those, we know how to get in touch with Carol. We're going to post that information after the show. But to all of our radio listening audience, we thank you for taking your inaugural break with us today. But we had some powerful information to share with you, all the way down to how important this day is to us. Diva J?
Absolutely. Well, one thing Carol mentioned was to make sure people seek you. And so in order to be sought, people have to know what you do. In order for that to happen, not only are you building relationships, but you're doing some marketing as well. So definitely reach out to Dash Marketing. I would love to do a consultation with you at dashmarketingllc.com is our website. You can call our office. It's a 202 number. I still got the DC office number, holding on to that. 202-780-8334. Or you can email me directly, Jeanette at dashmarketingllc.com. I'd love to do a consultation with you. And I just wanted to mention two things. Cheryl, you brought up the initiative that THAP is currently doing to increase micro businesses or assist them with expanding. In Touch News just published an article about that. So if any of our viewers want to learn more about that opportunity that Derek Blue is spearheading on behalf of THAP, go to intouchnews.com and take a look at that article. And you also mentioned, it's important to know people in different industries. One thing that I'm a part of that many people don't know is I sit on the board for the Asian American Real Estate Association. And so I'm the only Black woman, comma, who sits on the board. And I've been privy to conversations about investments happening overseas and what's going on here. And so just to know what's going on and then to think about how can you apply this is important. So I just want to encourage our viewers to continue to seek that knowledge. Carol, you might be receiving a call from me very soon. I'm going to first start with SBA, sign up for the workshops and see how that goes. But if further questions exist, I will definitely be reaching out to you all. But again, just thank you, Carol, for coming on again, dropping knowledge, inspiration, empowerment. I remember the last time we interviewed you, I asked you what you hoped your legacy would be, and it was to assist businesses to help people get to that next level. So just know that you are doing that and people are listening. And so Cheryl, it's always a pleasure as well to be on Let's Talk Business. Today is a great day. So I'm just excited to be here.
Today is a great day, and we thank God for it, as this show is now a part of the historical presidential inauguration. We've all been here to share our experiences and what this means to us as a people, what this means to us as women, and what this means particularly to women of color. So to these ladies who adorned their pearls today in celebration of our first woman of color vice president of these United States, to our In Touch News family, our radio listening audience, our YouTubers, our Facebook family, thank you for joining us today on Let's Talk Business with SJC and my co-host, Diva J, and our veteran guest, Carol Miner. Thank you all. This show is a wrap.